Sis, I heard the news. You're finally marrying Nathan? Yes, but it's strange for you to suddenly contact me. You've never shown any interest in our lives before. That's because Nathan works at Harvard. Nathan isn't highly educated or anything. He just graduated from a regular state college. He happens to work at Harvard now, that's all. It's fine. If he's working at Harvard now, there's no problem. Harvard is a place for only the chosen ones. Only a handful of highly educated people can work there, so Nathan must be thousands of times smarter than your average educated man. That's a quite unique calculation. Even Harvard students might not understand it. So just give him to me. I absolutely want to marry Nathan. Don't be ridiculous. I can't deal with this nonsense anymore. I'm going back to work. Try to calm down a bit. I'm serious. If you won't give him up, I'll take him by force. Sarah, you're not making any sense. Nathan and I are engaged. We're in love. And happy together. You can't just decide that you want him and expect me to hand him over to you. But you don't understand. This is my chance to marry someone from Harvard. Don't you know how prestigious that is? I really don't think you're grasping the situation here. Nathan isn't from Harvard in the way you're thinking. He just works there. Same thing. He must be brilliant to work at such an esteemed institution. Sarah, please listen to yourself. You're talking about breaking up an engaged couple because of some misguided notion about prestige. This isn't like you. Oh, this is exactly like me. You know I've always wanted to marry someone highly educated. This is my chance. But you don't even know Nathan. You've never met him. How can you say you want to marry him? I don't need to know him. I know he works at Harvard, and that's enough for me. That's just not how relationships work, Sarah. You can't just marry someone judging by where he works. Watch me. I'm going to win Nathan over. Just you wait and see. Sarah, this conversation is over. I'm not going to put up with this ridiculous idea any longer. Fine, be that way, but don't say I didn't warn you.
I'm sorry, Emily. We need to cancel tomorrow's wedding. We need to break up right now.
Stop saying weird jokes on the day before our wedding.
I'm not joking. I'm serious. I'm calling off our wedding. I'm going to marry Sarah. No, I have to marry her. I got Sarah pregnant.
What? You mean Sarah, my sister? So you two were having an affair behind my back. You've been betraying me all this time?
Emily, you're always so serious and perfect. You never oversleep for work, and your housework is just flawless. Being with such a perfect person feels suffocating.
So that's why you had an affair with Sarah?
People are emotional creatures. Sarah understood that about me. Her imperfections and sloppiness are charming.
Being perfect at work and housework should be praised, not criticized. Moreover, that's no reason to justify an affair or to get my sister pregnant.
I know it sounds crazy, Emily. I ain't planned for any of this to happen.
How long has this been going on, Nathan? How long have you been seeing my sister behind my back?
It's only been a few weeks. Sarah reached out to me about a month ago.
A few weeks? And in that time, you managed to not only have an affair, but get her pregnant? Do you have any idea how much this hurts me?
I'm so sorry, Emily. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened.
Things like this don't just happen, Nathan. You made choices, repeated choices to betray me.
You're right. I know I've made terrible mistakes. I felt so constrained in our relationship. Sarah made me feel free.
Free? Free to what? Cheat on your fiancé? Get another woman pregnant? Is that the kind of freedom you wanted?
No, of course not. I don't know how to explain it.
Try to explain. Because right now I'm having a hard time understanding how the man I thought I knew could do something like this.
Emily, you're amazing. You're smart, beautiful, and successful. But sometimes it feels like I was living in your shadow. Like I could never measure up to you.
So instead of talking to me about your feelings, you decided to sleep with my sister? How can that be a solution?
It wasn't a solution. It was a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake.
A mistake you're now choosing to continue by marrying her.
I have to take responsibility for my actions, Emily. Sarah's pregnant with my child.
And what about your responsibility to me, to our relationship, to the promises we made to each other?
I know I've broken those promises. I'll never forgive myself for hurting you like this.
Yet here you are telling me you're leaving me for my sister. Actions speak louder than words, Nathan.
I don't blame you if you hate me, Emily. I hate myself right now.
I don't hate you, Nathan. I'm disappointed and hurt and angry. So angry.
I deserve that. All of it.
Yes, you do. But that doesn't make the situation any better. What are you going to do now? Marry Sarah and live happily ever after?
I don't know. I know I have to take responsibility for the baby. But beyond that, I'm lost.
Well, you better figure it out quickly because you've just turned 3 lives upside down with your actions.
I know. So sorry, Emily. I wish I could take it all back.
But you can't. What's done is done, and now we all have to live with the consequences. Sis, you said Nathan works at the university, right? The only job at a university must be a professor, right? No, there are plenty of other jobs, like administrative staff or janitors. In Nathan's case, he's a professor's secretary. His job is to handle miscellaneous tasks for the professor he's assigned to. He doesn't do any research or professor-like work, so unfortunately, he won't be winning any Nobel Prizes. Huh? But being a secretary means the professor favors him, right? He must have been hired because he's brilliant. It's like preparation for eventually becoming a professor, right? Not at all. He's really just an ordinary secretary. His job involves checking emails, managing schedules, and making coffee. It's no different from any other regular secretary job. They even hire for these positions without considering educational background. Is that so? I thought university professors easily made around $100,000 a year. As a regular secretary, or rather administrative staff, he takes home about $20,000. The benefits are great, but the job is simple, there's no promotion, and that's about it. What? That's totally different from the income I was expecting. From your reaction, I guess you don't know how Nathan became a professor's secretary either. Huh? Did he just start this job recently? He started last year. Nathan was having trouble with interpersonal relationships at his previous job. Even after he finally managed to quit, he struggled to find a new job. That's when I introduced him to this professor's secretary position. I have a friend who's an assistant professor at Harvard, and she said they were looking for a secretary at her university, so I introduced Nathan. Oh, by the way, is this friend a woman? Yes, she's a woman, but she has a boyfriend she's very close with, so it's pointless to try to switch to her. Also, the professor's secretary position is renewed annually with a maximum term of 3 years. It's not a stable job, so you should think carefully about that. No way! You said he started last year, right? So after next year's renewal, he'll be unemployed? What's going on? Apparently they change people in short cycles for confidentiality reasons. That's terrible! I'm carrying Nathan's child and I'm due to give birth in a few months, but his income is low and he's guaranteed to be unemployed next year? What should I do? Well, that's not my problem. Isn't this the man you wanted to marry so badly that you stole him from me? That's because I thought he was a university professor. I never would have thought he was just an ordinary guy. Well, it's your fault for making convenient assumptions. Well then, I hope you and Nathan will be very happy together. No way. I want to call off this marriage with him right now. There are only disadvantages to this marriage. Sarah, you can't just decide to call off the marriage because you found out that Nathan isn't as prestigious or wealthy as you thought he was. You're pregnant with his child. But this isn't what I signed up for. I thought I was getting a Harvard professor, not a secretary. You didn't sign up for anything. You chose to have an affair with my fiancé and got pregnant. These are the consequences of your actions. But it's not fair. I was misled. No, you weren't misled. You made assumptions and didn't bother to verify them. That's on you. Can't you help me get out of this situation, sis? You know people at Harvard, right? Can't you get Nathan a better job? Are you serious right now? You steal my fiancé, ruin my relationship, and now you want me to help you out? That is beyond audacious, Sarah. But you're my sister. You're supposed to help me. I'm also the person whose heart you broke, the person whose trust you betrayed. You can't expect me to just forget that and help you now. What am I supposed to do then? I can't marry a man with such a low income. Maybe you should have thought about that before you got involved with him. Or better yet, before you decided that a person's worth is determined by their job title or income. That's easy for you to say. You have a good job. You don't have to worry about these things. I have a good job because I worked hard for it. I didn't try to marry my way into success. That's not fair. You know I've always wanted to marry and live a successful life. And look where that got you. Pregnant, unmarried, and panicking because the man who you thought was your meal ticket turns out to be an ordinary guy. Don't be so harsh, Emily. I'm in a difficult situation here. A situation you entirely made by yourself. You chose to pursue Nathan. You chose to have an affair with him. You chose to get pregnant. These were all your choices, Sarah. I know, but what do I do now? That's for you to figure out. You're an adult, Sarah. It's time you started acting like one. But I don't know how to handle this. I'm not prepared to be a single mother. Then maybe you should talk to Nathan about this. He's the father of your child, after all. But he's just a secretary. How can he support a family? Plenty of people with similar jobs support families, Sarah. It might not be the luxurious lifestyle you imagined, but it's possible. I can't live like that, Emily. I just can't. Then you have some serious thinking to do about your future and the future of your child. What should I do? I was too late. Nathan went ahead and submitted our marriage registration without my consent. What did you say? I was going to contact Nathan to call off the marriage, but he told me he had just submitted the marriage registration. He said he thought the sooner the better because of the baby. Oh, so you want to get divorced right away? I don't care if I become a divorcee. I want a divorce. You can divorce if you want, but can you raise a child alone? Of course, that's impossible. I'm just a part-timer. I've been living with my parents, prioritizing finding my future husband. I see. I didn't know that because I haven't been back home in years. If I get divorced, I can get child support from him, right? If I can maintain my current lifestyle with that, maybe I'll be okay. I wouldn't count on that. With his income, child support would be meager. Plus, if he becomes unemployed, you might not get any payments at all. And do you think our parents will be eager to help you with a child you had by stealing your sister's fiancé? In that case, you have to take responsibility, sis. Emily, you should pay me $1,000 a month for child support instead. Excuse me? If you had told me everything from the beginning, I wouldn't have stolen him. It's your fault for making me misunderstand. You made me and my unborn child unhappy, so take responsibility for it. Don't be ridiculous. You should take responsibility for what you did to me first. My wedding was ruined because of you. If you keep saying such absurd things, I'll sue you for damages. What? But if you promise never to involve me again, I'll forgive you. The baby is innocent after all. Use that money to raise the child. But... By the way, I've already told our parents about everything. What? They were both stunned and then immediately furious. They said they won't acknowledge your marriage or the child. They're going to kick you out of the house right away. Really? If I'm kicked out of the house, I'll have nowhere to go. I guess I have no choice but to continue this married life with Nathan. That's right. Well, goodbye then. Wait, Emily! You can't just leave me like this. There has to be something you can do. Sarah, I've already told you this is your mess to clean up. I'm not getting involved anymore. But I'm your sister. How can you abandon me when I'm in such a difficult situation? You didn't seem to care about our sisterly bond when you were having an affair with my fiancé. Why should I care about it now? That's different. I made a mistake and I admit it, but please, I need your help. And what exactly do you want me to do? Pay your bills, raise your child, fix your marriage? I don't know. Something. Anything. You've always been the smart one, the responsible one. You must know what to do. What I know is that actions have consequences, Sarah. You made a series of poor choices, and now you're facing the results of those choices. But it's not fair. I didn't know Nathan wasn't a professor. I didn't know he didn't make much money. If I had known... If you had known what? You wouldn't have slept with him? You wouldn't have gotten pregnant? You should never have pursued him in the first place, Sarah. He was my fiancé. I know. I'm sorry about that. I really am. But what's done is done. Can't you forgive me and help me now? Forgiveness isn't something you can demand, Sarah. It's earned. And so far, all I've seen from you is selfishness and a refusal to take responsibility for your actions. That's not true. I am taking responsibility. That's why I want to divorce Nathan. How is that taking responsibility? You're trying to run away from the consequences of your actions. That's the opposite of responsibility. But I can't be married to him. He's not who I thought he was. And whose fault is that? You pursued him based on assumptions you made about his job and income. You never bothered to get to know him as a person. I know that now, but it's too late to change what happened. I need to figure out what to do next. Yes, you do, and that's something you need to do all on your own. But I don't know how. I've never had to deal with something like this before. Welcome to adulthood, Sarah. Sometimes we have to deal with difficult situations we've never faced before. Can't you at least give me some advice? You've always been good at solving problems. Fine, here's my advice. Talk to Nathan. Be honest with him about your feelings and concerns. Discuss your options together. After all, he's the father of your child and your husband now. But what if he gets angry? What if he leaves me? Then that's something you'll have to deal with. But remember, Nathan chose to marry you knowing you were pregnant. He seems to want to take responsibility. I guess you're right, but I'm scared, Emily. I don't know if I can do this. You don't have much of a choice now, do you? You're going to be a mother soon. It's time to start thinking about someone other than yourself. I know, it's just everything's happening so fast. 1 minute I thought I was marrying a Harvard professor, and now you're married to a hardworking man who's trying to do right for you and your child. Maybe if you stopped focusing on what Nathan isn't, you might see what he is. What do you mean? Nathan may not be a professor or rich, but he's dependable. He's taking responsibility for his actions. That's more than can be said for a lot of men in his situation. I hadn't thought about it that way. Of course you hadn't. You've been too busy feeling sorry for yourself. That's not fair, Emily. Isn't it? From where I'm standing, you've done nothing but complain about how this situation affects you. Have you even thought about how Nathan feels, or how your child will feel growing up in a home where their mother resents their father? I don't resent Nathan. I'm disappointed. Disappointed in what? That he's not wealthy, that he's not as prestigious as you thought? Are those really the most important qualities in a husband and father? I don't know. I always thought they were, but now I'm not so sure. Maybe it's time you reevaluate your priorities, Sarah. For your sake, for Nathan's sake, and especially for your child's sake. You're right. I need to think about this. But, Emily, what about you? Can you ever forgive me for what I did? I don't know, Sarah. What you did, it hurt me deeply. It's not something I can just forget or get over quickly. I understand. I really am sorry, I never meant to hurt you. But you did hurt me. You betrayed me in one of the worst ways possible. And the fact that you did it for such a shallow reason makes it even worse. I know. I was stupid and selfish. I see that now. Seeing it is one thing, Sarah. Learning from it and changing your behavior is another. You have a lot of growing up to do. I want to change, Emily. I really do. I want to be a good mother to my child. And I want to try to be a good wife to Nathan. That's a start, but remember, wanting to change and actually changing are two different things. It's going to take a lot of work and effort on your part. I'm willing to try, but I'm scared, Emily. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? Then you pick yourself up and try again. That's what adults do, Sarah. We face our challenges head on even when we're scared. Will you help me? I know I don't deserve it after what I did, but I could really use my big sister right now. I can't make any promises, Sarah. You've hurt me deeply, and it's going to take time for me to process that, but I'll think about it. In the meantime, focus on your marriage and preparing for your baby. Thank you, Emily. Even that means a lot to me. Well, don't thank me yet. You have a long road ahead of you, Sarah. It's not going to be easy. I know, but I'm going to try. For my baby, for Nathan, and for myself. Good. That's the first mature thing I've heard you say in this whole conversation. Emily, I really am sorry for everything. I know you are, Sarah, but like I said, it's going to take time. Now, I think you need to go home and talk to your husband. You're right, I will. And Emily, thank you for talking to me, even after everything I did. You're still my sister, Sarah, no matter how angry I am at you. Now, go on. You have a lot to think about and a lot to do.
Please, Emily, can't we get back together after all? I'll break up with Sarah right away.
What? What's going on? You're newlyweds, and she's carrying your child.
Yes, but I just can't continue this married life. I'm giving up after just one day. I can't live with such a violent woman anymore.
Huh? Violent woman? What do you mean?
Yesterday, Sarah came to my house. She said she was kicked out of her home and had nowhere to go. She demanded that I take responsibility and make her and the baby happy. She said we had no choice but to create a warm family together.
Well, it's good that she made up her mind, but how is that violent?
Her emotions are out of control. An hour later, she suddenly said she didn't want to get married after all. She wanted to break up. She accused me of marriage fraud, shouting, "How dare you deceive me!" She started throwing things around the house and causing a scene.
My, that does sound quite challenging.
Then 30 minutes later, she was crying and apologizing for her outburst. Just when I thought she had calmed down, she started raging again. The cycle kept repeating. I'm a wreck after just one night. I want to divorce this woman.
So that's why you want to get back together with me? I'm afraid I'll have to decline.
Then at least take Sarah back with you. If she has another outburst, my house won't survive.
That's not my problem. If she acts up again, why don't you just call the police?
It's absolutely impossible. The dean lives on the top floor of my apartment building.
Oh, really?
I found out by chance the other day. If I call the police and our situation gets exposed, I might be fired immediately for causing trouble in my private life that required police intervention.
I don't think they'd mix personal and professional matters like that, but it might leave a bad impression.
Since my job is renewed annually, if it's not renewed because of this, I'll be unemployed next year. Thinking about that, I can't call the police. So please, Emily, can you do something about this?
No way, I'm not your fiancé anymore. I'm just a stranger now.
But...
Sarah's outbursts will probably settle down eventually. She's pregnant, so her hormones might be unbalanced. If you support her properly, I'm sure she'll calm down. So do your best as her husband.
You can't be serious. You really won't help me?
Nathan, you made your choice when you decided to have an affair with my sister. You can't just come running back to me when things get tough.
I know I made a mistake, Emily. A huge mistake. But I didn't know Sarah would be like this. She seemed so different when we were...
When you were having an affair behind my back? Yes, I'm sure she seemed different then. People often do when they're not dealing with the consequences of their actions.
I'm sorry, Emily. I really am. I never meant for any of this to happen.
But it did happen, Nathan. You chose to cheat on me with my sister. You chose to get her pregnant. You chose to marry her. These were all your decisions.
I know, and I regret them all. If I could take it back.
But you can't. That's the thing about choices, Nathan. Once you make them, you have to live with the consequences.
But what am I supposed to do now? Sarah's out of control. I can't live like this.
Have you tried talking to her? Really talking to her, not just reacting to her outbursts.
Talk to her? How can I talk to someone who goes from throwing things, to crying, to screaming, all in the span of an hour?
Sarah's emotional and is probably scared. She's pregnant, newly married, and her whole life has changed in a matter of weeks. That doesn't excuse her behavior, but it might explain it.
So what should I do?
Be patient, be kind, try to understand what she's going through. And most importantly, take responsibility for your part in this situation.
But it's so hard. I don't know if I can do it.
You have to, Nathan. You're going to be a father soon. It's time to step up and be the man your child needs you to be.
I don't know how to be a father. I'm not ready for this.
Nobody is ever really ready to be a parent, Nathan, but millions of people figure it out every day. You will too.
I wish I had never cheated on you, Emily. You're always so steady, so reliable.
Wishing won't change anything, Nathan. You made your choices, now you have to live with them.
Can't you give me another chance? We were good together, weren't we?
We were, but that's in the past now. You're married to my sister and about to have a child with her. That's your reality now.
But I don't love her. I thought I did, but now? Not so sure.
Love isn't just a feeling, Nathan. It's a choice, a commitment. You chose Sarah. Now you need to commit to making that choice work.
Even if she's violent? Even if she makes me miserable?
If Sarah is truly being violent, then that's a serious issue that needs to be addressed. But from what you've described, it sounds more like she's having emotional outbursts. That's not okay, but it's not the same as being violent.
So what should I do?
Talk to her, set boundaries, seek counseling if you need to, but don't just run away from your problems.
I don't know if I can do this, Emily. I'm not strong like you.
You're stronger than you think, Nathan. You just need to find that strength within yourself.
Will you help me? Please, Emily. I know I don't deserve it, but I need your help.
I can't help you the way you want me to, Nathan. I can't take you back or solve your problems for you. But I can give you some advice. Be patient, be kind, be understanding, and above all, be responsible.
That's it? That's all the help you'll give me?
That's all the help you need, Nathan. The rest is up to you.
I see. I understand. Thank you, Emily, for everything.
You're welcome, Nathan. Now go home to your wife. She needs you right now, whether you believe it or not.
You're right, and I will. And Emily, I really am sorry for everything.
I know you are, Nathan, but sorry doesn't fix what's broken. Actions do. Remember that.
I will. Goodbye, Emily.
Goodbye, Nathan. Take care of yourself, and take care of Sarah and your baby. Sarah continued her unreasonable outbursts until finally the neighbors called the police. Nathan explained the situation to the police, and they determined there was no criminal case, so they left quickly. However, the dean witnessed the entire scene. The next day, Nathan was immediately summoned, and the dean said, "Recently, the media has been keeping a close eye on university scandals. We can't afford to have staff members who might attract tabloid attention." And with that, Nathan was told his contract would end this year. As for my sister Sarah, she's still the same. One moment she wants a divorce, and the next she can't divorce because the child support wouldn't be enough. She demands to be made happy. Her emotional instability and outbursts continue. Finally, Nathan snapped too. Now they're known as the infamous brawling couple, and with the police being called to their home every day.
Thank you for watching till the end. If you felt good about this video, like the video. If you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments. Subscribe too. Your likes and subs lead to our motivation. We have so many videos on our channel as well, so go ahead and take a look. See you in the next video.
Megan, if you've got something you want to say to me, get over here and say it to my face. I know you've been telling all kinds of lies about me behind my back, and it's obnoxious. You're a grown woman. Now act like it. Huh? Whatever are you talking about? Talk about you behind your back? Me? Perish the thought. A good little girl like me would never dream of bad-mouthing her wonderful sister-in-law. You're not fooling anyone, Megan, so don't bother trying to lie to me. I heard you myself. I know exactly what you've been saying about me. You've been begging my parents to kick me out of the house. It would be nice if you could at least admit that. Oh, crap! You heard that? Man, I thought you were in the shower when I was talking to them about that. Well, I wasn't. Now, while I did hear you begging them to kick me out, what I didn't hear was the why. So, Megan, why do you want me out of the house? Does it bother you to live in the same house as me for some reason? No, that's not true. It doesn't bother me at all. All I did was make a little proposal to your parents. Attempting to get me kicked out of my own house isn't a little proposal. This is my house. I was born here. I have every right to be here. On the other hand, you and my brother moved in on a moment's notice after you got married. So on top of inviting yourselves in, you're also trying to now have the place all to yourself? Pretty presumptuous of you, don't you think? Come on, Megan, let's hear it. What's your problem with me? Good grief, you're persistent. I was trying to keep from hurting your feelings, but if you really want me to lay it all out for you, here it goes. I hate living with you. It is a massive annoyance to have my sister-in-law living in the same house as us. All I did was tell your parents how I felt and suggested they kick you out. And I was well within my rights to do so. See? Doesn't it feel better to get that off your chest? And no, it doesn't just bother me to live in the same house as you. It disgusts me. You disgust me. I've had all I can take. I can't handle it anymore. You should be grateful I've bit my tongue for this long. Oh, I disgust you, do I? With every fiber of my being, you weird old spinster. You're 38, Sandra. You're almost 40. Being single and unemployed and still living at home? At your age? How could I not be disgusted by that? And you constantly mooch off your parents, using their money to go on vacations by yourself every chance you get. I don't even want to associate with someone like you, much less live with you. First off, so what if I'm single? That's none of your concern. It's my freedom to choose the whens, whos, and ifs of getting married for myself. Second, I'm not unemployed. I did quit my old job, but I only did so because I'd already gotten a confirmed job offer from my next company. The only reason I'm not working right now is that for various reasons, I won't be starting at that company for another few months. And about my vacations. I just got done doing a very busy job, and I'm about to start another one, so I'm using the time in between to enjoy myself a little. What's wrong with that? Did you actually think I was gonna believe that ridiculous story? You quit your job because you sucked at it and everyone hated you. You don't have another job lined up, you're just making that up. Like, seriously, you're almost 40, way over the hill, and single. What company in their right mind would want something like you working there? You're so pathetic. I almost feel sorry for you. Most ugly, old, unmarriageable women at least make themselves useful in the workplace. But you're no good in the office or in the home. You're 40 and your life has already hit a wall. That's a bunch of nonsense. Not one single word of that is true, Megan. I was not fired. I received a better offer from a company and decided to take it. Oh yeah? Where did you get hired, Sandra? At the unicorn and leprechaun factory? Man, I used to work with someone exactly like you at my old company. Is that so? Yep, you're becoming more and more like her every day. She was a 40-year-old single spinster like you. She had been with the company forever, and she always lorded that over everyone and bossed them around. But she was super incompetent. I finally got sick of it and went over her head, telling her superiors what a pathetic, useless employee she was. I may have embellished the story a bit, adding a few mistakes here and there that may not have been 100% truthful. You lied about her? I didn't lie. I embellished. Those are two different things. And it worked. She got fired. Apparently, she had a hard time getting a new job after that, so she ended up working part-time at a convenience store. You ruined her life with lies, and you're laughing about it? And all because you just didn't like her for childish reasons? I couldn't help it. It's like a gag reflex. Some people just make me sick. Especially gross, old, single women. Those types really get my blood boiling. They completely abandon every last shred of their femininity and just resign themselves to being single forever. And that's why you want to kick me out of the house, is it? Because I remind you of the poor woman whose life you destroyed? Is that really what this is all about? You're actually worse than her, though, since you don't even have a job. Every time I look at you, it reminds me of what a total slob you are, and I hate it. A woman your age having no choice but to mooch off your parents because you failed in life? Yuck. Oh my god. Like that time a few weeks ago when you whined and whined and whined until your parents took you along on their trip to the lake house. I felt like I was going to puke watching you walk out the door with your suitcase. I paid for my own share of the trip, so I really don't see what your problem could be with that. Actually, I paid for most of the expenses too. I was the one that suggested the trip. It was intended to be a present from me. How long are you gonna keep telling those stupid lies, Sandra? No one believes you. Hurry up and get out of the house, you ugly, unemployed spinster. Don't worry, your brother and I will take great care of this house and your parents. We don't need you around. Well, I'm getting married too, so I'll be out of your hair before too much longer. Okay, that might be one of your most hilarious lies yet. You are really committed to the bit, aren't you? What is with older women and their massively overinflated egos? You're so afraid to admit the truth. And you are afraid to admit that you're wrong about me, so you just instantly assume everything I say is a lie. Whatever, have it your way. I'm packing my things up and leaving ASAP. Hey Travis, just letting you know, your wife kicked me out of the house, so I'm leaving. Take good care of Mom and Dad for me, okay?
What? What are you talking about, Sandra? You're moving out? You've never mentioned anything about this before.
Yeah, well, it seems like your wife really, really, really hates me. No matter how many times I try to explain how she's wrong, she keeps calling me an ugly, unemployed spinster. Apparently, I remind her of some woman she used to work with that she couldn't stand. Not sure what that's all about, though. That's only the beginning of the long list of horrible things she said to me, and I don't want to deal with it anymore, so I'm leaving.
Sandra, I am so sorry about all of that, but please, could you find it in your heart to forgive her? It's not really her fault at all.
How so?
Megan had this absolutely terrible woman for a superior at the company she used to work for. It seems like every day she was finding newer, crueler ways to torment Megan. It was all Megan could do to muster up the courage to show up at the office every morning. And if she says you look just like her, then I can kinda understand why it would be difficult for her to be around you. That awful woman caused Megan an unbelievable amount of trauma. So please don't hold it against Megan, she's a victim.
Is that what Megan told you, Travis? That she was being bullied by her superior at the company?
Yeah, she used to talk to me about that all the time back when we were dating. The way she showed such resilience and resolve in the face of incredible hardship. I admired the strength of her character so much that it made me want to marry her. I wanted to be there for her, to stand by her when times got tough. So one night when she was telling me yet another story of that awful woman's bullying, I said to her, "You don't ever have to go to that company ever again, Megan. I'm gonna work twice as hard for the rest of my life so you can stay at home and be a wife and mother." And then I took out the ring I had been saving and popped the question.
Wow, so that's how it happened?
But then, after we got married, Megan started saying that she felt lonely being all by herself in the house all day. That's when I got the idea to move in with our parents. The only problem was the fact that you were still living here. Now I know why she's been acting strangely lately. It's because seeing you was bringing back her trauma. Again, I'm really sorry for the way she treated you, but maybe it would be for the best if you moved out.
Travis, let me start off by saying that the way you stick up for your wife is one of your most admirable qualities. However, that exceptionally admirable quality is causing a big problem in the current situation. Megan is using you. I think it's time you stepped back and saw your wife for what she really is.
What? What are you trying to say, Sandra? I know exactly what Megan is. She's a sweet, soft-spoken, gentle woman. There are hardly any women like her around my age these days.
Again, Travis, I'm sure that's what you sincerely believe, but it's clear that I've done all I can do at this point, so I'll be taking my leave. Just promise me that you won't let her cause any trouble for Mom and Dad, okay?
Seriously, what's gotten into you all of a sudden, Sandra? Of course we're not going to cause any trouble for Mom and Dad. They're thrilled to have the two of us here. And one of these days we're going to have grandchildren for them, and then they'll be even happier. Look, you're my sister, but I have to stand with my wife here. I'm sorry living together didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. Don't worry, I'll take good care of Mom and Dad for you.
Hey there, Granny. So how's your job search going? Did you finally land that super sweet job you dreamed about? By the way, you have a bunch of stuff left behind here, and I want to get rid of it as soon as possible. Where should I send it? Or can I just throw it away?
Sorry about that. I've been too busy with stuff over here to swing by and pick up those boxes. I might actually be the best idea to have you send them to me. I'll give you my address, so go ahead and send them COD.
Gladly. These stupid boxes are taking up so much space. So tell me, what subsidized apartment should I send this junk to? Oh, I know. You're the new occupant of the cardboard box down the alley off Main Street, right? Huh? You poor thing. I don't want to have to imagine what sort of dump an unemployed spinster like you must be living in. Like, do you even have a bathroom? Or a door? I'll bet your neighbors are all drug dealers, too. There you go, fantasizing about my life again. I'll give you the address in a second. I'm living in the new condo building that just got finished over on Center Avenue. I'd rather you don't know what my room number is, so just put my name on it and send it to the management office. What? You mean that super sweet looking place with a rooftop pool? Why would I send it there? There's no way you could afford a room there. Actually, there is a way, because I just moved in here with my husband. The rooms here are incredible. They look just like they did in the commercials. I'm gonna love life here. Your husband? You got married? I told you the day I left the house, don't you remember? I said I was planning on leaving in the near future anyway. But that was just you making up some more nonsense. Travis has never talked about you having a fiancé, boyfriend, or anything. You have to be making up that stuff about getting married. What's with this sudden interest in my love life, Megan? I thought you were disgusted by single, unemployed 40-year-olds. Anyways, I'm under no compulsion to divulge the details of my private life to anyone, family or otherwise. I've been dating him for 3 years now. I've just told my family about him. You kept him a secret for that long? It's not so much that I was keeping him a secret, it's just that, well, no one ever asked if I had a boyfriend, so... But yeah, we're both pretty far along in our careers, so we've got a really solid amount of savings put together. A condo in a place like this is actually slightly on the cheap side for people like us. What do you mean, we? You're unemployed. I've seen the way you just lay around in the house all day. Even if you're really getting married, and that's a big if, you must be living completely off his money. It's not my fault that you never listened to me all the million times I told you that I do have a job. If you would have listened, you would have known that I simply quit my old job in preparation to take the new one. And now I get to spend the next 6 months until I start that job, relaxing in my sweet new condo. In regards to our finances, I was already making a decent salary at my old company. Once I officially start my new job, I'll be making over $100,000 a year. What? $100,000 a year? That's insane! If you think that's a lot of money, you should see what my husband makes. Compared to him, my salary is like a drop in the bucket of our net worth. He's on the board of directors for his company, which is one of the biggest firms in the area. Plus, he's one of the primary candidates for the next CEO. I don't believe this! You're making $100,000 a year by yourself? And your husband is making even more? But why would you get your hands on such an eligible bachelor? You're just some ugly old spinster. You don't deserve a guy like that. You should marry someone, I don't know, less awesome than that. I'm terribly sorry for breaking the rules of who I'm allowed to marry. But for the record, we actually met through work. His company is in the construction industry, and several years back, my company started dealing with them. We interacted quite often, on a professional level, and eventually we started seeing each other outside of work. There was a surprising amount we had in common. We hit it off right away, and one thing led to another, and, well, now we're married. Wait a second! Did you say your husband's company is in the construction industry? That's right. Have you ever heard of the company Verdant Lumber? They started out exclusively in the construction industry, but they've branched out into furniture and other similar things lately. But that's Travis's company! Whoa, really? He got a new job right before we got married. He said that if he was gonna have me at home, he wanted to have a better job with a higher income potential. That's when he applied to Verdant Lumber. Well, I guess it's more accurate to say it's a child company of Verdant Lumber. My oh my. It's a small world, isn't it? To think my brother is working for the same company as my husband. Well, it's a pretty big company, so they probably won't ever interact with each other very much. Anyway, I have to get back to setting up stuff over here. Let me know when you ship those boxes over, will you?
Sandra, are you there? I just heard from Megan that your husband works for Verdant Lumber. Is that true? Tell me his name, please.
His name is Alexander Martinson, but I'm not sure you'd recognize the name. you're all part of the same group, but there are well over 1,000 employees working in the main corporate office like him.
I can't believe it. To think Alexander is your boyfriend. Well, I guess he's your husband now.
Oh, you do know him then?
Know him? I just talked to him 5 seconds ago. He's my immediate superior. I report directly to your husband, Sandra.
Wow.
Yeah, they just started up the furniture division at corporate headquarters. A team was launched last week to work on setting up the company's first direct sale furniture store. I'm on that team, and, well, your husband is the team's leader.
Man, that is one crazy coincidence.
Alexander is one of the best people I've ever worked with. We shoot the breeze pretty often while on our breaks, and lately he's been talking about getting married and moving into a new condo. And I thought, that sounds awfully similar to what you've been doing lately.
So that's why you texted me just now, to check if your hunch was right?
Sandra, why didn't you tell me you were getting married? You never told any of us. How could you keep something like that a secret from Mom, Dad, and me?
Well, I mean, I'm already almost 40. I didn't think you'd be interested. Who wants to hear about some old maid's love life anyway? I thought it would just make you guys uncomfortable to hear about it. So, yeah, we kinda eloped the other day.
Sandra!
Just so you know, I did actually tell Mom and Dad about getting married. They've been really good to me and leaving me alone to determine my own path. I don't think they ever once expressed anything like, "Aren't you ever gonna get married?" or that sort of thing. They're really great parents.
But man, it's still crazy to think my boss is your husband.
Yeah, I do feel kind of bad about dropping the bomb on you, but in my defense, I didn't actually know either. So, yeah, that's what's going on in my life right now. It was actually pretty good timing for your wife to kick me out. I'm now enjoying the newlywed life with my husband in our brand new condo.
Good afternoon, Sandra. Hey, how would you like to stop by and have a cup of tea one of these days? I would love to hear all the juicy details of how you and your husband's life is going.
Huh? Oh, what's with the sudden change of heart, Megan? Did you just say I disgust you with every fiber of your being? Those were your words, by the way.
What? Can I say I just hate unemployed, unmarried old women? Now you're married, and I realize I was under the wrong impression with your work situation. So I don't have any reason to hate you anymore. Oh, and could you send me some pictures of your condo? I'd love to see what the view is like from your floor. Maybe you could even invite us over for dinner sometime.
Well, this is a side of you I've never seen before.
Yeah, I know, right? This is how I act around people who aren't unemployed, unmarried old women. I'm so glad everything got cleared up between us. What was I thinking calling you unemployed and all that stuff? I was such a dummy. Your parents told me that you really did pay for the vacation you took. That was so kind of you.
Oh, that trip to the lake house?
I was thinking, maybe next time you could take us along too. Your mom said the house was absolutely gorgeous. It's basically 15 steps from the back door of the house to the beach. I've always dreamed of spending time in a house like that.
This is pretty hard for me to take in. Up until about last week, you were calling me an ugly old spinster.
I've got it! We can go on vacation together to commemorate us repairing our relationship. You can afford to book the lake house for a week or two, can't you? I'm a housewife though, so I'm afraid I won't be able to pay anything.
Wow.
I know. We can go bikini shopping together. Well, bikini shopping for me, and one-piece shopping for you, I guess. But before all of that, how about that cup of tea? When can I come over and see your new condo? I'm good coming over anytime you're available.
You are never allowed in this condo. Never. I'm telling the building manager to call the police immediately if you try to come in.
What? Why am I not allowed to come over? And you're gonna call the police on me? What have I done to deserve that?
Honestly, I think she'd call the police on you even without me telling her to. I don't blame her either. After all you did to her, you know how you made up a bunch of lies in order to get her fired? I had only heard your side of that story, but once I heard hers, holy smokes, you are evil, Megan.
What?
It really is a small world, Megan. This condo building's manager and owner is none other than the woman you forced out of your old company. She worked so hard for that company for so many years, then one day, some young thing with an attitude comes along and starts being awful to her. But did you get punished for your behavior? No. She did. That poor woman.
No! No! That cannot be true! That old hag is the owner of the newest and most exclusive condominium building in the city?
I told you, she was a very hard worker. She saved up and invested very well for herself. She's always talking to the girls that come around about how important investing is for single women. She's been dreaming of owning her own building like this since she was young. And when you came along, she finally found the perfect opportunity to make it a reality. She had enough saved up to make her down payment, so she decided she'd had enough of you and your harassment and quit her job.
I thought she was fired!
She didn't want to give you the satisfaction. So once she heard you had gone over her head with your lies, she quit. Seriously, how could she be so awful to such a kind woman? She's been fantastic to me and my husband. Just the other day, she invited me over to her room for some afternoon tea. When we get to talking about her history, that's when I realized that she was the woman you told me about.
This is way beyond the level of mere coincidence. I still can't believe it. That old hag owns the best condo in the city? But I heard she was working part-time at a convenience store.
Oh, that's true actually. Being a condo manager isn't a 24/7 job, so she decided to pick up a part-time job to do in her free time.
She works out of boredom?
Yep. Anyway, I wouldn't recommend trying to come to the building. The best case scenario is that you simply waste a trip. The worst case scenario, you take a trip in a police car.
I'd like to avoid that if possible.
In that case, allow me to make 2 recommendations to you. 1, never show your face around my condo building. And 2, never contact me again. Goodbye. After that, I kept taking my regular trips to the lake house with my parents. But I make a point to never invite Megan. I asked my parents about what life is like at their house since I've been gone. The good news is that Megan still puts on her sweet and innocent act in front of them, so they aren't having any issues with her. They say that as long as she doesn't start acting up like she did towards me, then they won't have any problems with her living there. That's reassuring to hear. As for me, Megan occasionally sends me an over-complimentary text to try and find some way to work herself back into my life, but I've yet to respond to a single one. I still feel bad for my brother Travis though. He's still under the impression that his wife is some sweet little angel. I genuinely do admire and respect the devotion he has to his wife. I guess all I can do is hope that she keeps up the act around him too, for the rest of her life. Thank you for watching till the end. If you felt good about this video, like the video. If you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments. Subscribe too. Your likes and subs lead to our motivation. We have so many videos on our channel as well, so go ahead and take a look. See you in the next video.